In this video, we're going to talk about what the deposit structure looks like when you're buying new construction projects, specifically condominiums. So stay tuned. Hey everyone, my name is Mariah Taliaferro. I'm a realtor with Premier Sotheby's in Sarasota, Florida, and I really specialize in new construction sales, having represented both developers and many buyers and my own family in purchasing new construction. So there are a lot of things to think about, and if you are in the process of exploring new construction in the Florida market, then definitely tune into the other videos I've done. But this one is a follow-up from the past one, which we talked about what all the things are to think about before you actually buy new construction. And in that video, I talk about the risks and the rewards and all that good stuff. So check that one out. Anyway, so regarding new construction deposits, this is like the first question I get from people after they've determined, yes, I am open to new construction. I'm open to waiting 4 to 5 years to move into my property. And that is, what does the actual deposit structure look like? So it is dependent on the project. Not every project is the same, but there is more of a process than you would expect. So let's take a normal situation. You have a project that is being released. Initially, most developers go through a reservation period. What that looks like is you don't actually go under contract. You're able to reserve a particular unit. And then once they have what's called their condominium documents approved by the state, then they can actually accept contracts. So until that point, you're in a very non-binding reservation agreement. You will have to put money on that reservation, but it's fully refundable and you can really cancel for any reason at any time. Once they have their condominium documents, then you actually go under contract. And that's when we say the contracts convert from reservation to contract. At that point, you'll have to put 10 to 15% of the purchase price on the contract for it to become a firm and executed contract. So it's dependent on the developer and what their deposit structure looks like. So let's assume it's 10%. Again, that would be 10% of the purchase price. The reservation will roll into that amount that you already paid into what you need to pay. And you'll have what's called a 15-day right of rescission period where you can review those condominium documents that they've got. You can cancel for any reason, but after that 15th day, you are essentially firm at that 15th day. So you have a hard contract is how we call that. The next deposit is usually due at the time that they break ground. Every developer is different. Most developers don't actually break ground until they're 50% sold out. So that could take a couple weeks, that could take a couple months, that could take a couple years. You don't really know, and it depends on your market. So definitely know when that period of time is, and they will have to send out a letter. I think it's like a month in advance from when your deposit is actually due. So then you'll have to owe an additional, usually 10%. Again, depends on the developer and what their total is that they need. The last deposit is usually due at the time that the building is topped off. If it's a much larger building, then they may do it at like the 9th floor or the 5th floor or something like that. But smaller projects will do when the building tops off. And topping off means that they've installed the final slab, which is the roof of the entire building. And there sometimes is a celebration when that happens as well. So that's the normal deposit structure. Now, if a project is really, really, really popular, then they're going to go through like a pre-reservation stage. And this usually happens when there's like a lot of interest on a property and they're still getting their floor plans and pricing in place. And what they're going to do is they're going to allow you to do a letter of intent. So you're kind of like reserving the unit, but not really at the same time. And you also don't really put down any money at that point. You're just saying, I have the intent that I would like to at least learn more about this property and this specific unit until they can actually take reservations. It's not as common for them to do this, but some projects will. Or they'll also like create a whole list and then they'll go down the list one by one and start making their calls, doing their presentations, and people have to make a pretty quick decision at that point if they're going to move forward with that particular unit, and they may or may not have a reservation or a contract ready to go. So that's another way that they can kind of manage that high level of interest. Other developers will actually kind of make it a first come, first serve. So if you were the first one to get on the list, then you're the first one to get the first pick of the development. So it's development specific, it's area specific, but that is kind of the broad overview of what that deposit structure looks like. So if you have questions about new construction, about deposits, about anything related to real estate in general here in Sarasota, I would be more than happy to assist. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care.